Hello, in today's video, I'm going to talk about yeast extract and if it's an ingredient you should avoid in processed foods. So to start, what is yeast extract? Yeast extract is a food additive that is produced from the same yeast, a single-cell fungus, used in bacon and brewing. Unlike yeast, yeast extract is not a living organism, it is deactivated yeast. This ingredient is primarily used to flavor food and boost nutrients. It contains glutamic acids, which is rich in amino acids, vitamins, minerals, proteins, peptides, and nucleotides, and gives food a savory taste, almost similar to what is known as umami. It is similar to monosodium glutamate, also known as MSG. So yeast extract has a strong and salty taste, though there are some varieties that are sweet. Yeast extract comes in different forms, with some being a brown paste, liquid, flakes, or powder. Because it is primarily used to enhance flavor or flavor food, it is sometimes referred to as a spice. Yeast extract is a popular food additive in today's processed foods. It specifically comes from the yeast Saccharomyces cerevisiae. Generally, yeast extract has a high concentration of glutamic acid, which is also found in MSG and is the source of its umami flavor. A little goes a long way, so only a small amount is added to dishes, around 1%. Since yeast extract naturally has sodium, some manufacturers add less salt to products when yeast extract is included. This doesn't necessarily make the final product a low sodium product, but yeast extract can discourage manufacturers from adding salt. The Journal of Food Science did a study on this and found that products that contain yeast extract had encouraged manufacturers to reduce added salt by up to 30%. Yeast extract may be referred by other names on an ingredient list. If you don't see yeast extract on an ingredient list that has it, it may be listed as natural flavors or additives. You may also see hydrolyzed yeast extract or autolyzed yeast extract. Hydrolyzed yeast extract is yeast extract where enzymes are added. Acid or enzymes were added to the yeast and sugar mixture during hydrolysis processing. Autolyzed yeast extract is yeast extract where its own enzymes are used to break down proteins. This yeast extract is produced by breaking down the yeast cell wall to release its amino acids, salts, and carbohydrates by its own enzymatic processes. The soluble components are separated from the insoluble components to produce the final product. To make yeast extract, the yeast cell walls are destroyed and their soluble contents are extracted. Hence the term yeast extract. First, the yeast cells are placed in a nutrient-rich environment, sometimes in fermentation containers, with sugar to nourish the yeast, where they are closely monitored and controlled, having an adequate supply of oxygen and appropriate temperature until they reach their desired maturity. When maturity is reached, they are harvested and cleaned to eliminate impurities. Then the yeast cell walls are broken to release the soluble flavor-rich components, which are the amino acids, vitamins, minerals, proteins, and carbohydrates. This is accomplished in a number of ways, such as through mechanics like blending and grinding, or through enzymatic treatment. If hydrolyzed yeast extract is being produced, new enzymes are added to break down the cell wall. If autolyzed yeast extract is being produced, enzymes already present in the yeast are used to break down the cell wall. The resultant mixture is separated into a liquid form, which has soluble components. The solid form has mostly insoluble components that are mostly cell debris and cell walls. The liquid soluble form is filtered and concentrated to eliminate trace solids through evaporation or membrane filtration. Lastly, the concentrated liquid is produced into a fine powder, paste, flakes, or kept as a liquid to be sold as yeast extract. It's important to emphasize that there are other ways to produce yeast extract. Some manufacturers may add salt to a yeast mixture of sugar and water, where the yeast cell will shrivel and break down with added heat. When this happens, the cell walls are removed to make the yeast extract. As mentioned, yeast extract is widely used to enhance flavor and flavor foods. It reduces the need to add significant amounts of fat, sugar, or salt. It's a more nutrient-packed alternative for salt and monosodium glutamate, MSG. Only a little yeast extract is needed to boost the savory taste as well as depth of food and dishes. Because of this, many food manufacturers reduce added sodium in their products by up to 30% when they use yeast extract. This extract intensifies savory and salty taste profiles and enhances a food's or dish's flavor notes. Processed foods and drinks that tend to have yeast extract are broths, soups, sauces, gravies, frozen meals, processed meats such as lunch meats, chips, crackers, condiments, vegetarian and vegan products such as meat alternatives and cheese substitutes, dressings, seasonings, dairy products, and drinks. And in some countries such as Britain and Australia, yeast extract is the main ingredient in popular spreads like Marmite and Vegemite. Though a processed food ingredient, yeast extract is touted for having an impressive nutrient profile. It's rich in B vitamins such as B1, thiamine, B2, riboflavin, B3, niacin, and B6, pyridoxine, folic acid, minerals like potassium and selenium, proteins and amino acids like glutamic acid, and nucleotides. As a result of yeast extract's nutrient profile, it offers several health benefits. First, due to the B vitamins, yeast extract can support metabolic processes and aid in reducing fatigue. Its antioxidants can help prevent cell damage. Also, it can increase energy levels, support nervous system function, production of red blood cells, and more. Most of these benefits stem from the B vitamins. Second, with its high level of protein, yeast extract can serve as a good addition to vegan and vegetarian diets. And third, it's a great replacement for monosodium glutamate, MSG. Yeast extract has a similar flavor to MSG but without the troubling side effects. To learn more about MSG, check out the Ingredients to Avoid playlist on this channel. The glutamic acid in yeast extract is an amino acid responsible for the umami flavor often associated with MSG and used in place of salt. When added to food and dishes, yeast extract can help reduce the need for added sodium in these foods. Of course, these benefits are best received when consuming yeast extract in moderation. And if consuming yeast extract in a food or dish that contains other troubling ingredients, these benefits may serve little to support your overall health. While yeast extract has some notable benefits food and health-wise, it isn't without some controversy. A lot of it has to do with its association to MSG. Some see yeast extract as a more natural alternative to MSG, which is synthetic and lab created. This is because the naturally occurring glutamic acid in yeast extract acts similar to MSG in foods, providing the desired savory taste that MSG does. Due to this, some health professionals believe that yeast extract has minimal health risk. It has no synthetic additives as MSG, but others stress caution, especially for those with MSG sensitivities. They believe those sensitive to MSG may experience the same or similar negative health effects with yeast extract due to its glutamic acid, which is also in MSG. But for those who advocate that there are no concerns with yeast extract, they add that the amount of yeast extract often used in food is much lower than the amount of MSG often used in food. So the likelihood of those sensitive to MSG experiencing a reaction to yeast extract is minuscule. Overall, they advise that consumers pay attention to how they respond to yeast extract, especially those sensitive to MSG. Some consumers have reported experiencing mild skin flushing and headaches when they eat glutamates or MSG, but most in the medical industry do not believe that there's an allergy to yeast extract glutamates, and not enough yeast extract is used per product or dish to warrant any health concerns or reactions. The FDA doesn't require manufacturers to state that a product with yeast extract contains MSG, unlike what they must do for products that have MSG. In fact, manufacturers can state that the product has no MSG even though it has yeast extract. In addition to some reporting glutamic acid in yeast extract creating discomfort, other concerns such as yeast allergies and intolerance have been associated with yeast extract. Yeast allergies are uncommon, but can create negative immune system reactions such as hives and digestive issues like bloating, gas, diarrhea, and constipation, as well as severe reactions like anaphylaxis. And those with conditions like inflammatory bowel disease or irritable bowel syndrome may exacerbate these symptoms if they consume yeast extract. Other concerns are grain contamination through processing, which could affect those with gluten sensitivities and those with celiac disease. And those with hypertension and related issues are concerned about yeast extract due to its high amounts of sodium. Though yeast extract sodium content is high, is usually not a concern to many, since again only a small amount of yeast extract is added to foods, but still, those with high blood pressure and other cardiovascular conditions may want to avoid or limit their consumption of yeast extract. So, with what's known about yeast extract, should you consume it? I say yes if you have no allergies or sensitivities to it, then yeast extract is not known to be harmful to consume in small quantities. However, if you have sensitivities to MSG, cardiovascular, and gastrointestinal conditions, as well as sensitivities to yeast, I would avoid this ingredient. Currently, there are not enough research or consensus in the medical community of yeast extract being harmful to one's health, but it's important for individuals to pay attention to how they respond to yeast extract and foods that contain the ingredient after they consume it. It's also important to consume this additive in moderation, since problems could occur when consumed in large amounts. So in sum, if you have an allergy to glutamates such as MSG or yeast, you may want to avoid consuming products that contain yeast extract. If you have a gluten intolerance or celiac disease, consult the manufacturer before consuming their product containing yeast extract. Sometimes manufacturers will state if a product is gluten-free, but if not, contact or check their website to see if they say how their yeast extract is made or where it comes from. And if you have cardiovascular conditions such as high blood pressure or hypertension, avoid yeast extract since it can raise blood pressure due to its sodium content. Again, yeast extract is not known to negatively impact most people and is said to have some health benefits, but moderation is key. Nevertheless, if you want to avoid consuming this additive, look out for the ingredient on the nutrition label, which may be listed under other names such as natural flavors and additives, and limit consumption of prepared and packaged foods where yeast extract would be primarily present in. And that's it. Thank you for watching. I hope I explained what yeast extract is and if you should avoid it. If you found this video helpful, please like, comment, and share so others looking to understand this common food ingredient can discover this video. Subscribe for more whole food and nutrition videos, and until next time, take care.